Hi, I'm Shayna. I'm sure you're new here because I'm new here. I do TV show reviews and I'm doing Ready to Love. This is season 7, 8, 9, who knows? They had the numbers messed up for the seasons, but this is episode 3 and we're in Miami. So we're definitely going to get into it. If you like this video, please make sure to thumbs up, subscribe, share, tell a friend. And I apologize if you can't hear me. I don't have a mic. I need to get my subscribers up before I do so. But I will be working on that soon. I definitely want to talk about this episode tonight because it was really good. So the gentlemen met in the gentleman's lounge. The men are telling Tommy because he asked them what's difficult about dating in Miami. They said a lot of women are superficial, from the neck down, they're looking good, everybody's, beautiful, but up here, intellectually, what's going on? Nothing, So that's their grievances that they have with dating in Miami. So Tommy told the men not to pick women they would normally date, which we normally don't do that until later in the season. He said pick a woman that you typically wouldn't date and date them. And so that's their task. As always, some of the men did not follow the task. For instance, our very first date, LJ and Looney. Looney has been out because of 19. So because she was out because of that, they were texting, they were talking throughout the time. He was checking on her, so he was anxious to take her on a date. I get with that situation why he decided to go out with Looney, because he hasn't had the opportunity to spend time with her. Even though that was not the task and it was go out with somebody that you're not interested in. But I digress. So she was saying, none of the other guys at the mixer stepped up and asked me for my number, and you did. So they already had a connection, which was good, and it seemed really genuine. Looney is very pretty. I love that she had a protective hairstyle, and she seems really friendly. So I'm liking Looney so far. Shakira is also going on a date. She had her signature flower in her hair. She meets up with Alonzo and tells him, every time I see you have those shades on, take those stunner shades off so I can see you in your shady looking eyes. So he took them off reluctantly, and I'm thinking, I don't know, it seems like a bit of tension. It doesn't seem like they're really feeling each other. She was saying she prejudged him before she got to know him because he was saying he travels. If I'm not mistaken, he's the gentleman who's retired. I remember him saying he had a daughter early on, and I'm not sure if he's the one that had an adult daughter. I know a few of the men, somebody said they had put their daughter through college. I don't believe it was him, but I thought that he said his daughter was grown. So she says, do you have a problem with dating single mothers? Would you date a woman with a child? My thinking is, I'm not sure if there's an insecurity about her being a single mother. It seems like it's constantly coming up with her. It came up, she felt accepted by Samson because he was, was praising her for being a mother, and it's coming up again. So she's constantly talking about it. Nothing wrong with talking about your children. I'm a single mother and I have 2 children myself. So I understand how hard it is to date with school-age children. But we want to get to know you first. So, I feel like going forward, yes, it's good to clear the air, but we also need to know more about Shakira outside of her being a mom. Nothing wrong with being a mom, but there is more to you than just being a mom. And that's for every mom. So LJ asked Looney what she's looking for. Me, I typically don't like that question, and I don't answer it either, because, and this is just my past experiences, I may be projecting a bit, but I find that men will ask you what they're looking for, what you're looking for, what's your type, what do you like, what do you want long term, so they can portray to be that. And that is what Looney said. She says she wants someone genuine, and basically in so many words, they lead with their representative, and then later on, when she's already fallen for them and they're knee deep in a relationship, their true colors comes out and she finds out who they really are. And that's an issue. Everybody is gonna lead with their best selves first. But I'm not telling you, oh yeah, I like a man who, buys me flowers, and then every Friday you're buying me flowers, and a year later you won't even send me a flower through text. It's a flower emoji. It was a front. Let me see who you are. Let's just get to know each other. I might tell you some things. You know, you have to kind of let people know, you know, a few things, but I'm not going to flat out give you the blueprint of how you should be treating me so you can just get me. And once you get me, you don't have to do anything else. We're not doing that. Let me see what you want to do a little bit. Let me see what you know, what you're willing to do for me, and you can see how I am for you, and we can see, are we compatible? And then we can start getting into a little bit more. I can let my guards down a little bit. But again, I'm just projecting. So, Shakira is still having a conversation with Alonzo. He's saying him and his daughter are a package deal. So no, it's not a problem because he has a child of his own. And that's great. But I'm thinking, if I remember correctly, and your child is grown, it's two different things. She has a school-age child. Your daughter's grown. It's a little bit different. But I'm glad that he was open to it. And she said, oh, do you want my number? He said he'll take it. But truthfully, I was not feeling any kind of chemistry or connection between the two. Unlike Looney and LJ, I felt a more genuine connection. They were laughing. They seemed really interested in each other. This date seemed a little forced. So we move on. Charisse and Samson are next. They're going out on a date for ice cream. I said, okay, on paper, they're perfect for each other. Neither one of them have children. They're around the same age. But they look like they're a little related. Like they could be related, similar to Nate and Stasia on Married at First Sight. You know, they had some similarities. So they were just having some. Now Samson did say at the mixer, he got a bad first impression. So he followed Tommy's rules. He picked somebody that he wouldn't normally date because he said physically she's his type, but you know, he tried to talk to her. She was looking down. She was on her phone. She wasn't interested, and it turned him off. As they're talking, you know, they're starting to laugh and it's lighthearted, and, you know, they're flirting a little bit. They're, you know, having some surface level conversation, going into a little bit of their background about their families. And he was, towards the end of the day, saying that he really liked her, that he felt differently. So I think having that intimate time, the mixer, there's so much going on. There's so many people. You can feel overwhelmed. Me personally, I wasn't feeling Charisse either at the mixer, and I wasn't even there. She just gave me a standoffish vibe. But I think you have to, when you're dating, it's so important to date, to have that one-on-one intimate time. When I'm dating, like I just said, don't tell nobody nothing, keep it a secret, but I'll give you this. When I'm dating, I don't like for my first date to be, oh, let's do something fun and adventurous and go on roller coaster rides and go to a concert. No, I like, we can do that, but we need, at some point, we need to have dinner because one, I'm like Candy Burrs, I like to eat. Two, it gives you that intimate time to have one-on-one conversation, to have some dialogue and really getting to know each other. You can't get to know each other if you're in a loud room. There's a bunch of noise. There's a lot of people. That's just my opinion. But I'm glad the date turned out well, which was good for Charisse because it saved her another week. Next, we have Mike going on a group date. He walked into, looks like they were doing some type of gymnastics activity. Typically, when they're doing group dates, it seems like it's like a physical type of activity. I said, Mike is really tall, you know, I find him attractive, personally. Looney was there, Kayla, April, Charisse, Justice, and Swayze. So Mike, after they got done doing activities, everybody seemed physically fit. They were able to do the activities. April did a great job. She said she's an athlete and she was getting so into it. She wasn't even worried about the men anymore. She was fine with just doing the activity. So Mike takes Kayla to the side and he said that they have chemistry there. He's attracted to her and, you know, there's an interest there, which I found funny because just last week at bowling, he said, oh, you're only 30. You're too young for me, basically. So last week she was a little too young. This week there's an attraction, but I am glad that he's given her a fair chance. She deserves a fair chance. They're both grown. I don't think there's anything wrong with a bit of an age gap at this stage in life, as long as she's mature, which she seems to be. They're talking. April interrupts. She said that she said Kayla wasn't happy with it. it was a bit uncomfortable. I wouldn't have been happy either because it was intense. She said Mike didn't seem to be feeling her at the mixer. So I'm thinking, why did you come interrupt somebody who may be interested if you don't think he is? Now, they seemed like they could have, at first it started off innocent, but they started raising voices and it got to be a lot. So Easy ended up taking Kayla away from them. So I'm like, okay, this isn't going well for April right now, from what I can see. So then we have some of Swayze and Kayla talking. She's saying she's attracted to him. Every time she sees him, he gets more attractive to her. And I'm thinking, okay, they look like they could be a potential couple. But again, it's so early. It's really early to tell. But from what I saw, they seemed like they had some potential. Looney and Justice were talking. And Justice was saying he's really feeling Looney. Now, Looney was nice. She was friendly. She's bubbly. But I don't know. I didn't see what I saw with her and LJ. With her and LJ, it was undeniable. It seemed like they were really interested in each other. I think her and Justice look nice together aesthetically, but I think that it was more of like a homey vibe between the two from what I could see. But again, that can change at any moment. It's week by week. So, everybody's having a good time. And let me see. Mike and Sharice, I almost forgot. Mike and Sharice end up talking. I didn't see Sharice talking to too many people at this particular group date. So when she did talk to someone, it was Mike. Sharice just made a comment when they sat down and said, she was reluctant at first because he has baggage, meaning, he has 3 children, he's divorced. We know a lot of the ladies are concerned about that because on this season, a lot of the women do not have children. Now, Ready to Love is, between 30s, 40s. So usually at that stage and range, people tend to have children. But this particular season, a lot of the women do not. So we know that was an issue. It was an issue last week in the ladies' lounge between the women. So Mike is like, oh, you're calling my children baggage? Yes, Mike. She doesn't have any. So yeah, everybody has baggage. And yours happens to be that. You have 3 children. That can be a lot for someone who doesn't have any. And I don't see anything wrong with that. If she doesn't want to date someone that has 3 children, that's fine. And that's fine for you because this ain't it. I can move on to somebody else. You don't need to get defensive. And then he said, okay, you're 45, you don't have any children? She said, I'm 42. I'm 42. And he was like, at this age, that could be a red flag. And Mike, it can be a red flag. And she said, and that's fine. And that's okay. And it is. If you're looking at her like, why you don't have any kids at this stage in life, you don't have to date her, but you don't have to get defensive about it either. She said she wants someone who's never been married and never had kids. Why she's on this show, I have no idea, because there's always people who have been married and who have had kids. They don't care if they got married when they was 16. They gonna mention that they was married before. So I think just in general, when you get to that age, it is harder for you to find someone who has never done those things, but it is very much possible because she just went on a date with Samson, who has never been married and doesn't have any children. So don't settle on what you want, and you don't try to force yourself on somebody who doesn't want children when you have them. You're just not equally yoked, and it's not a good fit. But I thought, so I'm thinking Mike got defensive twice on one group date. Let's pay attention to that. Now, I'm not saying he's just this irate person, but let's pay attention because he seems to be a little snappy when you say something he doesn't like. Randall and Trinika go on a date, lighthearted, they're laughing, they're flirting, they have some similar values, nothing really exciting there. So moving on, there's another group date. Swayze, Mike, Brandy, and Kadeen went on a date, which I think was better because there's less people. It's more like a double date, so it can be a little bit more intimate. And it was with 2 couples who actually talk outside of the show and like each other. So Kadeen pulls Mike to the side, and she asks a question about how long did it take for you to leave once you knew that you were ready to get out of your marriage? And he said about a year, it was just building up and building up. And I said, oh, I heard the word build up, and I don't want to jump to conclusions, but I'm already paying attention to his temper now. but I'm paying attention to Kadine's as well because she has a wall up. And I know sometimes I can get like that personally, but she seemed like she just is a little bit standoffish. So those two, water and oil, it doesn't seem like a good mix, which is fine. They're not trying to date each other and they know that. So they go to the back, they're talking, it starts getting heated. I can't even remember why they were arguing, but they were. But I'm thinking, okay, now Kadine might have a wall up, but Mike, this is the third woman you've been a little combative with in one episode, and we're only halfway through the episode. Brandy comes and saves the day. We know that from the beginning, her and Mike had a liking towards each other. I think that they are going to be this season's joint Clifton, where they knew from the mixer that they were into each other, and they're going to be one of those secret couples that pretend like they're dating just to be in a process to make it to the end. I find it silly that people have to do that, because then now we're getting a lot of people talking about, I pick myself and I'm gonna choose me, or we have fake couples. This isn't a self-love show, and we're not. Is there a monetary gift? I don't understand what the fake couples are about. Let the real couples make it to the end, and let the people who aren't truly connecting, or they're waiting to the last 2 episodes to connect, just let them go. But that's my personal opinion. I don't know if Mike will make it to the end because he's arguing with the women, even though him and Brandy are getting along. Now she's basically claiming that that's pretty much her man. She likes him. He feels the same. I think that they are a good fit together, but she needs to pay attention because she doesn't have any children. She wants them, and I don't care what he told her about. He could very well change his mind, so I don't want to jump to conclusions. He very well could change his mind, but he seemed like he doesn't want more children. And if he doesn't, then it's not right for him to continue to try to entertain Brandy. She's willing to accept his 3 kids. He really needs to think if he wants that or not. The men meet in the gentleman's lounge, and I'm thinking they have a bar in there. Now come on, Tommy. Now, we've been doing this too long. The women deserve a real women's lounge with a bar and a bartender. We deserve food at this point, because you've been doing us dirty season after season. We done had to meet at the house. We done had to meet on Zoom. We done had to meet at the food court, at the mall. Come on, Tommy. Finally, we get a women's lounge, but it never compares to the gentleman's lounge, ever. Do better. Do better, own. So Tommy didn't have on a blazer, he didn't have on a turtleneck, and he had on bright colors. I said, it's hot and it's humid in Miami. Let me drink to that. I'm drinking cranberry juice. It's a Friday night. Happy Friday, red cups. I said it's hot because Tommy is he's not choked up by the neck. He had buttons loose. The first 3 buttons were loose. I saw his undershirt a little bit. I said, oh, him and his wife must have a hot date tonight, okay? They enjoying Miami, because I see the wife is going to be there. Now, they were up in the DC, the DMV area. She's, I'm not interested in Miami. Well, she said, I'm going to be there start to finish. I'll wait for you in a hotel. And I think we need to see his wife a little bit more, just to have that woman's perspective, especially in the women's lounge. Anywho, Tommy asks who they're not feeling. The men are not feeling April, which I was so surprised that so many men were saying they weren't feeling April. I wasn't aware that, no one really seemed to have a connection with her. And then Kadine, but we know Kadine and Swayze they have a true connection. So he was looking like gulping, like, oh my goodness, don't get rid of my girl. So I think for that, at this moment, I'm thinking she's going to be saved because she has a connection and April does not. So they get to the dates. Swayze is going to be telling Kadine, and LJ is going to be telling April. And April walks in and she's like, oh, a breath of fresh air. I'm happy to see you. Which lets me know she ain't vibing with nobody. She's not feeling the guys. And she has that calm demeanor where I feel she's going to take it well. I don't think she's going to feel away. Kadine, on the other hand, is stomping in. Like, she said, I already know that the men met with Tommy today, so I already know what time this is. Like, let's get to it. Just come out and tell me. Rip the Band-Aid off. I know what time it is. So Swayze's looking scared to death. And she's looking like she's about to, She's not, yeah, she's not playing with him. She's like, let's get straight to it. So they're sitting there. LJ's like, I want to feel April out and get to know her, and then tell her what the guy said. Why are we dragging this on? Why are we getting to know her? I mean, we can deliver it nicely. We can, we don't have to rush into it. But don't get to know you and then having me thinking, you getting to know me, and then tell me towards the end, because at this point, April is clearly thinking that this is a real date. Don't turn around and say, but you can go home. You ain't ready to love. Don't do that. Don't get to know me. You should have got to know me before y'all made this decision. But okay. So LJ is telling her, what the guys are saying. We flip back over. Swayze told Kadeen that she's safe. She lives to see another day. She's relieved now. She's relaxed now. She's a little more comfortable. She's letting her guards down a little bit. And she said, what? I gotta relax a little bit. I had to, tone it down a notch, turn it down a few notches. And I appreciate the self-awareness that she has in this moment, because yeah, you do. You do. If you were just dating and you were just out there dating and somebody's getting to know you, fine, protect yourself. But you signed up for this process, so you have to get to know the guys. And you got to be friendly, or you're going to go. But they, relax a little bit, and they're happy and smiling. LJ tells April she's ending her process at this point. She's completely fine with it. She said, I don't regret anything. If I had to do anything differently, then the only thing I could do is not be myself. I would have to be somebody else. And I appreciate that. She was completely herself the entire time. She enjoyed the process, and she looks great for 46. You're in Miami. She'll be fine. She'll find somebody, especially after being on this show. So that was the end of this episode. I'll be back reviewing this next week. Again, please feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, and I'll see you down in the comments. Bye.